Okay, welcome back. Long time no see. And you might be wondering, why am I wearing my hat backwards? Well, I thought for this topic that we are talking about today, I thought I would look like a bully from like all of those American high school dramas. So I'm gonna go under the name or alias Chad today. So Chad's gonna tell you about bullying, but in this case, it's going to be workplace bullying. So I guess I don't really need the hat, actually. Fuck it. What prompted this topic? So I went to go see a friend, and their partner was telling me about their work situation, and essentially they have this really, awful manager that is, lies about things. Like we'll agree verbally with let's just say my friend, and then we'll then later go and, not do that. And then when they raise it, like, the person will lie about it. And even when there's a third person involved, they will continue to lie and say, oh, I don't remember it like that. And do all those kind of annoying, mean, evil manager things that, sometimes middle management will do. Or I guess any kind of form of management can, do. And she kind of was at her wit's end and was just kind of annoyed. And she had booked a trip with her partner. So she was like, I'm resigning from this job, and then I'm gonna go on my holiday, and then from that point I'll go and find something else once I get back, like from the 2-3 week holiday, because she's not the first person to leave. There's been other people that have left because of this manager. And she's just the next, which is a telltale sign. Like when a lot of people have left, and it's a pretty similar kind of reason why. It's like it's more than likely the management is just the management culture there is just toxic, and the industry she's working in, like, it doesn't surprise me. It's like an agency consultancy kind of like job and industry. So like already it's very unlikely that there's going to be there's a higher probability in working in that industry that you're going to come across a manager like that. But at the time, I thought it was a really good point to raise, because she had gone into a meeting with HR, because she had raised, my friend had raised the issues with HR, about this manager, and she knows she's not the first person to do it. But when it came down to that, the meeting, it was the HR people, my friend, and then they brought in the manager as well. And the whole time, my friend is bringing forward, bits of evidence, or bringing forth scenarios that had happened. And she was explaining where she felt the harassment and the bullying was happening. And essentially what would happen is it would become a he said, she said situation, where my friend would bring forward the scenario, the HR would turn to the manager and go, well, is that true? And then the manager just would lie and just go, oh, well, I don't remember it like that, and so on and so forth. And they just went back and forth, and my friend essentially got the feeling that HR wasn't going to support her or take her side or help her. And she was a little bit shocked by that, which she probably shouldn't have been, but that's just kind of how it is. It's the nature of what HR is. HR is not there to help the employee by any sense of the word. Like, they're protecting the business's interests, because at the end of the day, when you're an employee, do you pay for the HR team's salaries? Are you paying for them to put food on the table? It's like, no. So in other words, they're not going to go down with the ship for you. They're going to support, or they're going to work for the people that pay them, which is, at the end of the day, the business. So a lot of what HR is about is just essentially about, screwing people over, screwing people over in their own fellow employees to further the business's interests, or make sure that the business's interests aren't harmed in any way. And so my friend was a little bit taken back by that the HR didn't support them, or didn't even really kind of look into it any further, or wanted to take their side in any way, and they just took the manager's side. And she was a bit shocked by that. But the advice I gave her, after hearing her tell me this, and it's the reason why I kind of explained the situation that she was in for you guys, so you understand the situations where this is kind of, where you might want to use this tactic or use this method. The hardest part in a lot of these kind of long-term-ish work disputes is a lot of it is recalling information over a long period of time, where there is a reasonable argument that the harasser or the bully or whoever, in this case the manager, can reasonably can use the argument of, oh, well, that was a really long time ago, I don't remember it like that. They can use the doubt card endlessly due to, in a lot of instances, how long and protracted the abuse or harassment or bullying might have been throughout the victim's time at the workplace. So what you need to do is, when you are starting to realize that, hey, actually this person is making me feel really uncomfortable, or they're bullying me or discriminating against me, or whatever it necessarily is, it's very rare that you're going to get it in writing. Like, it's very rare that someone's going to send you an abusive email or, harass you or bully you in via like an email or a text or something. Not saying it doesn't happen, it definitely does happen. And in that point, I think it's definitely important to take screenshots of that. And it would need to be, like, if it's electronic like that, like if someone sends you an abusive email or someone's bullying you via email or text at your work, you need to take a photo of that with your personal phone, so that you have a record of it that is your record. It's not on any like business, or it's not on the organization's or businesses like server or computers or anything. No, it's on something you have, and you have the copy of. So you want that. But if it isn't in that kind of realm and it's more verbal, or in more social situations, or just in a verbal back and forth where there really isn't a kind of log of it, the remedy to this is to actually essentially create your own log. So anytime you have a situation where you feel like you're being harassed or discriminated or bullied against, or being bullied, oh sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze for a sec, but then it ran away from me, so that kind of sucked. Yeah, that sucked hard. What you need to do is, the second it is done, that interaction is finished, you need to go, and you should probably have a notepad and a pen, and you need to write that down. Like, write down the date, the time, where it occurred, who was there, and so who was present, who said what, how it made you feel, and you need to go through each layer of this. And like I said, every single instance there's a moment where someone harasses you, or like this, let's just say it's one manager. Like, let's say it's one manager harasses you or bullying you or whatever it necessarily is. You need to have a log of every instance of that: date, time, where, when, who was involved, who said what, how did it make you feel, all of that. You need to do it for every single instance. And then once it comes down to that situation where you get to that point where you just can't handle it anymore, and you're sick of it, this is what my friend ideally should have had when she had her meeting with the HR and the manager. Because what will inevitably happen is, you'll have that meeting where you bring forward to your complaints to the HR people. The HR people go, okay, let's have a 3-way talk where we'll bring in the manager, you, and we'll sit there as moderate, and the HR will sit there as moderators as a way to talk about the issues and see where things are at. If you can bring that log of evidence, let's say you have the digital texts and the photos of the text and emails, and then you also have your own notepad log, and never bring the original, just print out copies of it, because you never want that to get destroyed. But bring out a copy of all your notes from your notepad, which gives all the dates, times, who said what happened. At that point, the manager or the bully or whatever, whoever it is, will not have the same ability and capacity to play the doubt card, because whereas before it's like you're trying to recall certain instances just off the top of your head and they can try and refute them or cast doubt on it, with this, although yeah, it's not like a video camera recording of the interactions that have happened over time, but it's the closest thing you can physically get to it without actually having a camera on your head, like a GoPro on your head 24/7. Even though probably that will probably get to the point one day when don't even worry. It's the closest you can get to something like that. And what will happen is HR is going to get scared shitless because, if you can bring an actual bullying claim against the company, it's like that's actually going to hurt their reputation. Like, one, their reputation. It could cost them financially, and there's all sorts of repercussions that it's not going to be good for the business. And what will happen is HR will then involve legal, because legal team they'll want to call the legal team in, because HR is there just to essentially kind of mop up the easy scrap shit that isn't too difficult, while legal is for the more prickly issues. And if you have that kind of info, and that, like I said, that kind of evidence, the legal team is essentially going to look that up and down. And even if they thought that they still had a fair chance, like let's say you take them to court or something, you take the business to court over bullying allegations, even if the business thought that it had a fair chance, if you were to go down that route and take them to court, you might not, obviously, but like I said, even if they thought they had a good chance, they would advise against it. The legal team will tell HR pretty much just let this person go, give them all their benefits, give them all their severance packages, give them everything, appease them as much as possible and get them out the door. Because legal will see a possible bullying lawsuit and will just be like, that's not good. They don't want any part of that, because even if they win, it's like it will have cost them so much, and like even just a bad reputation getting out in the news or where out into the community that this is a place of a toxic business culture. They're not going to want a bar of that. Like, they don't want any of that. That's just like bad public relations management. And so legal's going to advise against that. So pretty much what will end up happening is you will probably want to eventually resign from that place, but being in that kind of space gives you such an upper hand if you have that kind of evidence and that kind of in-depth log of the events. Because like I said, it means that, HR can't just, accept the cop-out excuses given by the bully or the harasser. And it means you're in a much better, more confident position when you're dealing with these entities that, in many respects, are not after your best interests. So, in other words, you have to be the one looking out for your best interests. Now, by no means is this a fully comprehensive way of dealing with bullying. Bullying can take, many sorts of forms, and sometimes you need to speak out immediately. Other times it's more underlying, harassment and bullying that happens, which you can use this log stuff. Like, this is by no means a silver bullet that's going to fix all situations, but it's just something to think about when you eventually notice that, hey, wait, I'm actually being bullied or discriminated at my workplace, and I need to do something about it, but I need to go about it the right way. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed learning this thing good. I know it's been a while since I've been around, but I've tried to change that, so I think everything should be back to normal. So I'll be seeing you soon.